Hey guys, yeah, the Wallabies have just announced a squad for the 2023 Rugby Championship. As you can see right here, it's pretty interesting to see overall who they've selected. Again, there's a few missions in there, as well as a few bolters, so I guess it kind of balances things out. But before we kind of react towards the squad, I'd like to thank you guys right now and subscribe towards the channel. But as you can see right here, of course, the Wallabies did announce their squad, and yeah, this is Eddie Jones kind of like, this is technically his first, big squad announcement, because again, he did make one within April, but again, this is really more of the Rugby Championship squad itself. And remember, it's only 33 players instead of like the normal 36. He's actually kind of slightly condensed even further. But again, as you can see right here, I mean, look, there's a few players. I mean, we'll go over the forwards first. I mean, look, from a forwards perspective, he has selected the likes of Alan Alatoa, Richie Arnold, Matt Fassler, on the likes of Nick Frost, Matt Gibbon, Jed Holloway. Michael Hooper is one of the co-captains, so just keep that in mind. They've also gone the likes of Tom Hooper in there, Rob Lotea, Fraser McWright, Zane Nogard, Dave Parecki, Pete Samu, Will Skelton, James Slipper, who's the other co-captain in the squad. The likes of Tenniel Tupou in there, Jordan Uwasi, as well as Rob Valentini. So that kind of makes up there the forwards. And yeah, overall, I think it's pretty impressive. Again, there's a few omissions I can point out straight away, but let's just talk about position by position first. I mean, in terms of the props, they have gone the likes of Alan Toa, they've gone the likes of Matt Gibbon, they've gone the likes of, you could say Zane Nogard, as well as James Slipper. So, and you have Tenniel Tupou in there as well. So that's kind of the five overall they have gone with, which is, it's interesting to see they've only gone with five, because I guess it's understandable, because if you're going with a condensed squad, and I guess what you're going for the Rugby World Cup, then I think Eddie Jones sees five props as probably the best solution to be towards his selection, problems facilities. So yeah, I think all five of those props deserve to get in. Again, Matt Gibbon and Zane Nogard are definitely not two that I would have suspected to get in. But hey, I mean, Zane Nogard, obviously, he's still young. I think he's like 22, 23, obviously playing for the Reds. Had a good season overall, so he's one of the bolters, obviously been included in the squad. I guess in terms of the hookers, they've gone the likes of, Matt Fassler, who's the other bolter, of course. He's been playing, another player who's been playing pretty well for the Reds, so he definitely deserves to get in my opinion. So I kind of like that selection overall. Again, the other hookers they've gone with is the likes of, Dave Parecki there, as well as Jordan Uwasi, who's actually uncapped, funny enough, because you would have suspected him to be like actually capped already, but he's actually one player who just unfortunately missed out through injury through several occasions now. So he's finally been selected, which, to be fair to him, he has definitely deserved it. But at the same time, there's other hookers who obviously who aren't even in the selection, which is kind of surprising to see, like the likes of Fa'afai'anga, which is probably the big one, really. I mean, you even have Lachlan Lonergan, who hasn't been selected, which is kind of crazy to think. But I mean, maybe there's an injury in there. I mean, I don't know. But I mean, Lachlan Lonergan and Fa'afai'anga, that's two big calls there already that Eddie Jones has made in terms of not going in terms of the hooker positions. But I guess in terms of locks, they're going the likes of Nick Frost there, Jed Holloway. They're going the likes of Will Skelton, as well as Richie Arnold. So again, you two have I think two new boys in there, if I'm not mistaken. I think Richie Arnold is one. Richie Arnold is actually the brother of Roy Arnold, if I'm not mistaken. And again, Richie Arnold does play within France, by the way, I believe for Toulouse. So yeah, he's now coming over essentially to play. And he's still older, it's still pretty old, but again, I mean, you actually have come up with pretty old kind of lock players there, because you've got the likes of Richie Arnold, who's like 31 or something like that. You have the likes of Will Skelton, I think he's also 31. You have who else is there? There's Jed Holloway, who's even older. I think he's like 32, 33. And then the only lock really there who's pretty young is actually Nick Frost, who's I think 23 years old. So it's interesting to see that they've gone with those players overall. But I kind of like it. I mean, I think Nick Frost definitely deserved it again. He's like the one that I think really stood out within Super Rugby. So I'm happy he kind of gets into the squad. And again, you do have the likes of Rob Lotea, who again can play lock as well, but he's kind of really more as a six. Same as Jed Holloway, really, because Jed Holloway can obviously shift towards that six spot. But in terms of the other players, you have the likes of Fraser McWright, Tom Hooper, who's the other one, obviously from the Brumbies. So I think he'll play mostly at six. That's kind of a six cover there. You have the likes of, am I missing anyone else? I mean, Pete Samu, the likes of Rob Valentini. So yeah, I mean, there's some big omissions there in terms of league forwards, because you don't have like Harry Wilson, which is kind of mind-boggling to think, because he had a good season overall really for the Reds. So it's crazy to think that he hasn't been selected, in the squad. And again, you do have other players who just haven't made it. Again, you could say they didn't have the best of seasons, but at the same time, I am surprised that there isn't other players in the squad. But I think overall, I think Harry Wilson, I'd probably say Flafanga. You also have Lachlan Lonergan. And then you probably have, in terms of locks, I guess, like, I mean, Matt Phillips there, I'll get into later, but I think those are probably the three biggest omissions, I'd say, in terms of I guess, in terms of the forwards at the moment, as what I see. But I mean, going on to the backs, of course, you do have the likes of Quade Cooper, you have Lakatai Volketti, you have the likes of Connor Gordon there, Reece Hodge, you have the likes of Len Ikitau, Marika Corbetti, Ryan Lonergan there, of course, Ted McDermott, Mark Nar, Kwantawasi, Israel Polisi, Savasti Benavalu, the likes of Nick White, Ben Donaldson, Josh McKenney, and Dylan Peach. So again, it's very interesting to see a lot of these. There's a lot of debutants in this kind of back line, as I can pick out already, because the likes of Connor Gordon, who's an uncapped player there. You have Ryan Lonergan as well, who's been uncapped. I believe Mark Narg has no, he's played before actually. Never mind. You actually have who else? Josh McKenney and Dylan Peach. Has Ben Donaldson played before? No, he has played before, but still, it's 4 players in the backs who. Wow, I mean, that's 4. Am I right in saying that? Yeah, it's Dylan Peach, Josh McKenney, Brian Lonergan. Yeah, Connor Gordon. Yeah, so that's actually 4 right there. Wow. I mean, there's a lot of bolters in the squad, by the way, guys. There's a lot of bolters, but I think all of them do definitely deserve to get in. I mean, in terms of position-wise, I mean, you have the likes of what? You have, for the scrum master, you have Brian Lonergan, who I mentioned is ready at the bolter. You have Tim McDermott, who's now got his way back into the squad. That's good to see, because he definitely deserves to get in. Because I think since he wasn't announced in that training squad for the Wallabies earlier on, he kind of stepped up his form, and he's been great ever since. So yeah, he definitely deserves to get in. And of course, you have Nick White, who's really more of the experienced scrum half overall. So I think that's kind of the 3 you expected in terms of the scrum halves. In terms of the fly halves, however, they actually have gone with Quade Cooper here, which is a big call actually, because they could have gone with the likes of Bruno Foley if they wanted to, even like I'm trying to think of anyone else. You could have gone with Noel Seo, who's not really selected. So it is big. A big call, but they've gone with the experience there with Quade Cooper. I think he's like 30. I think he's like 35. I think it's crazy how old he is now, guys. But at the same time, he knows every trick in the book, really. So he'll definitely be able to help in terms of this Wallaby setup and just be a leader on and off the field, really. But yeah, again, his replacement in kind of the apprentice, you can say, towards Quade Cooper, they have called the likes of Carter Gordon here, which is pretty, I'm not going to say surprising, because he definitely deserves to get in, but it's kind of cool to see him get selected, because a lot of people say that he kind of fits the Eddie Jones style, kind of 10. And I truly believe that as well, because in a Rebel side who hasn't played this well this year, I mean, his stats alone individually has been sensational. So yeah, he definitely deserves to get in no matter what. And again, when you look at the other players, I mean, I guess in terms from a center position, you have the likes of Len Ikitau, you have like Volketti, you have the likes of Israel Polisi, as well as who else? Is there anyone else? I mean, you could say maybe Reece Hodge if we wanted to, but I guess those are the 3 guaranteed centers. So, I mean, I'm not really arguing against all of them. Again, you could probably say Israel Parisi is probably one that I was a bit surprised to see in, because his form has really dropped off, I'd say, this year. So I wasn't really sure if he was the right choice, because I actually would have gone with someone like Josh Fluke. I think that's someone who I would have gone with, someone for the Reds, because I think he's had a brilliant season. But I guess they still want a bit of a hard man in that position. So, I mean, Parisi does the job, of course. But I guess in terms of the other backs, I mean, you have the likes of Mark Nar, Kwantawasi, Murphy Betty. You have the likes of Dylan Peach. Who else? You have is there anyone else I'm forgetting? You have no, I don't think there's anyone. No, I think I'm missing one more. Wait, I am missing one more, guys. There's Betty, Mark Nar, Kwantawasi. Oh, Vinavalu. That's it, Vinavalu. There. So yeah, no. And then again, it's interesting to see that they've gone with those 3, because I think all of them I actually like. Surprisingly, there's not like a winger who you normally don't think that, like, I'm a bit surprised it gets in, but I actually rate Betty, Benavalu, and Mark Nar Kwantawasi. I think all of them deserve to get in. So I'm actually pretty happy with all those selections. And I think that's probably deserved overall. I mean, Dylan Peach is definitely a surprise, I'd say. Again, he's one that, like, where I mean, how old is Dylan Peach, actually? Now that I think about it, because I actually haven't had the time to look how old he is, actually. But I think Dylan Peach is, like, what, 20? I mean, he's not. He must be a bit old, isn't he? Like, he's like in his old. Let me just quickly look here, guys. So Wartars. He's 25 years old. Okay, so 25 years old. I mean, he's in the middle of his career, really heading towards his prime. So yeah, I can back that selection then, I guess, overall. And again, you have Josh McKenney there. He's obviously from the Rebels, so yeah, that's understandable. And Ben Donaldson, of course, as well. If you guys didn't see that, but Yeah, I mean, those three are really much more utility players because like, Josh McKennie is really more of a lock. So that's kind of the other lock if you want to kind of include it. And Ben Donaldson is technically kind of 10 or 15. So really gives you kind of a bit of versatility in that position. But I guess in terms of the rehab players, again, these are players who just couldn't be selected because of their injuries at the moment. But or just recovering really is Angus Bell, Langan Gleeson, Andrew Kellaway, Samu Karevi, Jordan Mattia, and Matt Phillip. And I think all of those players definitely deserve to get into the squad. So I think, yeah, over time, I think they'll just be slotted back into these positions here. But it's going to be interesting to see who they replace really in the squad because there's a lot of players who actually like the squad a lot. So it's interesting to see what they'll do. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think I'm pretty happy with the squad. I mean, I'm trying to look at the forwards once again. Is there any stand out? I mean, you could say maybe Rob Letter's a bit surprising just because he hasn't played, I think, at all this year. But I guess Eddie Jones is backing him, of course. I mean, overall, I'm pretty happy with that squad. I mean, again, in terms of the injury fronts, I mean, they did list saying that they weren't considered because of their injury was Mac Jorgensen, Tom Robinson, Isaac Rodda, as well as Corey Toole. So I guess Corey Toole is one player who I would have thought would have got in, but again, he has been listed injured, so that's obviously the reason why he's not been selected. So it's interesting to see that they've obviously noticed him, but just know that he's not available for selection. So okay. Fair enough. Yeah, overall, pretty happy with the squad. I mean, let me know in the comments what you guys think. I mean, it's one of those squads where, again, there's a lot of shifts, I think, which will be made from this squad, from this Rugby Championship squad, towards the Rugby World Cup. As you can see, there's a lot of players on the rehab. But overall, I think they can definitely do the job. And again, you have to remember, this is Eddie Jones' first big squad announcement. So it's definitely going to be a lot of shifts, going off this first Rugby Championship with him. But yeah, anyway, we'll leave it there. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the squad. But other than that, we'll see you guys next time.
Hey, Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up. She picture perfect, so I told her